Hey, how's it going guys? My name is Eelwood and today we are looking at Blazing Chrome, a brand new game just released a few days ago on PS4, Steam and Switch. And to answer the ultimate question, is it worth your time? So, Blazing Chrome is a single/multiplayer retro indie pixel art run and gun platformer set on a post-apocalyptic Earth where humanity is on the brink of extinction due to machines taking over the world. You play as a resistance fighter, set out to complete an impossible mission behind enemy lines, where you'll be wasting hordes of enemy machines, avoiding waves of projectiles, and taking on the very large and destructive bosses. So, aesthetically the game is definitely a 16-bit inspired game with Super Nintendo/Mega Drive vibes. The pixels used for the design of everything in the game is pretty large, compared to the more classic 16-bit games of old, which gives Blazing Chrome a much better overall quality, visually speaking. I can imagine it took considerably longer to design and create all the visual assets for this game, but hard work does pay off well as this game is impressively smooth, superbly animated, and exceptionally designed. The colours used are mainly dull and lifeless to give the game that industrial, rusted, metallic feel, with very good colour contrasting and impressive pixel shading, to ensure the foreground definitely stands out from the background graphics, which can be an issue with heavily graphic games like this. Everything on the foreground, like characters, projectiles and obstacles, stand out very well. Very rarely would I lose sight of my character and projectiles, even in two-player mode. No major lighting effects used other than general underfoot shadows and the quite impressive light flashes from firing bullets on characters and enemies. A very nice touch for a retro-inspired game, especially when coupled with the used ammo shells that fall behind you. Very immersive, minor detail that I really do like. The textures and details in Blazing Chrome are insane. The pixel artists that worked on the game's visuals really do deserve a pat on the back for this one. So imaginative and creative, it's nuts. The UI is tiny and perfect. You've got your lives, points and weapon type, everything you need to know in a nice compact bar at the top of the screen. The timer at the top could have been a tad smaller, I suppose, but fortunately it didn't at all hinder my focus of the on-screens, so it's not a big issue. Level layouts per mission are very large considering, but this may be due to the fact that the game itself only really has 5 missions to complete, so it does make sense. Each area is completely different, has straightforward paths to follow, which is always nice, but although this is the case, the platforming challenges it provides aren't easy and will keep you on your toes as you play. The characters and enemy designs are by far the best part of Blazing Chrome's aesthetics. The designs and animations used are very appealing, simple and thorough. Combine this with the weapon fire effects, screen shakes and explosions, and you've got an incredibly immersive, flawless visual design that, as I said, must have taken a while to perfect to a level of quality as high as this. And the boss designs? Wow, they're just as good, if not better. Again, so imaginative and creative, it's crazy. The added smoke effects when bosses are on low HP is another small touch I really do like about the game. It really does baffle me when artists can design graphics this good with simple boxes on a screen. Overall, an incredible job from an aesthetic perspective. The OSTs in Blazing Chrome are, if you haven't already noticed, fucking awesome. I wasn't too sure when I was playing the game, but when I got to the snow base, I thought, this soundtrack sounds like the work of someone I've mentioned before. And funny enough, when I got to the credits screen, Dominic, you sly dog, he strikes again. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, check out my Bot Vice review. But anyway, the soundtracks have all the main aspects of great gaming music. Powerful, catchy, upbeat and simple. Plenty of guitar and drums used to give each track that 80s post-apocalyptic feel without overcomplicating the soundtracks too much. Each OST is a pleasure to listen to, and although you will be dying constantly, they don't get tedious at all, relate to the overall gameplay very well and give incredible feelings of momentum to the player. Not once did I feel the need to turn the game off when I was struggling, even when playing hardcore mode. This is mainly because of the amazing music keeping me going. The intro track gave me chills, the boss tracks are very immersive, even the mission select and credit tracks are amazing. It's safe to say a few of the OSTs from Blazing Chrome will be making it onto my 10-year-old iPod, especially the Snow Base OST. As I'm recording this review, I must have listened to that OST at least 40 times already. Fucking amazing. Now for the gameplay. So before we actually get into it, I have something you guys need to be aware of. I played this whole fucking game all the way through on a bugged save. How it happened, I have no idea, but when I selected a character, single player mind you, and I only had one controller connected, the game allowed me to select player 2 as well, which I obviously thought was normal as it's my first time playing the game. When the game loaded up, I was essentially controlling two characters with one controller, which after about 2 hours playing I thought, wow, single player is fucking shit. Bad spawn locations, impossible platforming jumps, and forced to walk into a wall to have both characters standing on the same tile to even have a chance at boss fights. I was going to give this game a terrible score. Turns out the whole 2 hours I played was a fucking bug. I didn't know until my friend told me, so naturally, to get the bad taste out of my mouth, I had to complete the whole game again, this time properly with one controllable character, which is what you're meant to do anyway. And just to be safe, I completed it a third time with a friend, just to get the whole co-op experience of the game. Right, so now that's out of the way, let's continue, shall we? So, Blazing Chrome does have a few difficulty options to choose from before you play. You can choose between easy, normal, and hardcore mode. All three of my playthroughs were done on normal mode, but I did try the first 3 missions on hardcore with a friend, and fuck me, they are difficult. 3 lives is just too low for a stage, and the fact that you only have a limited amount of continues makes hardcore way too difficult for casual play, unless you're really putting in the effort. When you turn on the game, you're given the intro cutscene which explains the game's story. Mavra the human and Doyle the converted toaster, as she calls him, are 2 of 4 playable Resistance characters. The other 2 are unlocked after completing the game once. As I mentioned, you're behind enemy lines against all odds on a suicide mission. That's pretty much all you get story-wise as far as I could tell. But just to give an assumption, the mission appears to be traverse a few stages to get from the inner city to the outskirts, pass more and more highly secured areas, find the location of the core as they call it, destroy the core, all local toasters will be disrupted and shut down without the core's power. This, however, is a temporary solution to the global problem, but one suicide mission at a time, yeah? So, once you're done with the cutscenes and any settings you want to change, you choose your difficulty, choose your character, watch a very short training demo, choose a mission and play. There are 4 missions to choose from, each one has a difficulty rating, but all stages have to be completed anyway to unlock the final 5th mission, so do them in any order you like. I assume the story missions lore-wise are in difficulty order, but who knows. So, once you're in, Blazing Chrome is indeed a run and gun platformer, so obviously expect running, gunning and platforming. Each mission involves getting to the end of a stage without dying, taking down a mini-boss, then taking on the second version of the stage, getting to the end, again without dying, then you're on the last boss of the mission. Once done, you're back to the mission selection screen to take on another one. Very similar to how Sonic Mania paces its Act 1 and Act 2 before going into another zone, I suppose you could say, with the final 5th stage having 3 acts instead of 2. As the training demo tells you, you have all the basic platformer controls as you'd expect, with the addition of obviously your main machine gun weapon, holding an aim button while standing still, the ability to prone, and the ability to roll. These combined with monkey bar platforming, riding in mecha suits and motorbike stages give the game plenty of variation, challenge and immersion to the player. You also have access to weapons and power-ups that can be found in destroyable containers throughout each stage. The power-ups include defense, speed and attack boosts in the form of small bots following your character around. The weapons include a grenade launcher for high AoE damage, pulse gun for focused high damage, and a wave gun for whipping close range targets hard to aim at. Note, these weapon names are not correct, I'm just going by the lettering on the ammo that drops and assuming what they stand for, as I couldn't find the information online to the actual weapon names. Another note, the 2 unlockable characters don't have access to any ammo drops as they only get 1 melee attack for the whole game, but can benefit from the power-ups. Now, although you have access to all these things to make destroying hordes of toasters a breeze, you do however die from a single hit from anything. This means watch those fast projectiles, don't touch enemies and delay your platforming. Each enemy is also extremely aggressive and relentless. They have monstrous melee beasts, airborne bugs that grab you, huge mechs that take forever to kill, and much more. Very rare do you get breathing space if you're not constantly on the offensive dealing damage to the enemies. On normal mode you get 5 lives to last the whole part 1 of the stage and the boss at the end, which you will find with sloppy gameplay. You will be restarting the stage quite a lot. The bosses can be just as relentless and challenging, and do have quite unique methods to beat them, which I think is brilliant. They do take some time to get used to, but once you've found the weakness in their attack patterns, are so satisfying to destroy. All these challenging enemies, fast-paced platforming and high-focus boss fights really keep the immersion flowing, the satisfaction high, and the player engaged at all times while playing. And the fact that you can do all of this in local 2-player mode really adds to the overall fun the game provides, as well as bringing out the teamwork aspect that today's games don't do as well as they used to years ago. So for the ultimate question, is it worth your time? It's another must-play indie game. 6 words you rarely hear spoken, and in fact it's just my second time ever saying it, the first being Botvice. The gameplay has high immersion, fun and replayability, the soundtracks are brilliant, and the dev team have done a very good job at bringing back the old school run and gun genre of gaming. I'm going to give this game a 4.5 star or 88 out of 100. Blazing Chrome is a brilliant choice when you have a spare hour to spend on a game with low investment. It's a perfect game to play with a friend over regardless of their gaming skill, and will provide good replayability due to its somewhat forgiving easy/normal modes. The fact that when playing on these modes, if you lose all lives and press continue, you're put back to the last checkpoint you got to, this being on the second area of a stage or a mini-boss. This reduces the general difficulty of the game by a hell of a lot, due to the fact you don't have to start all the way back from the beginning like older run and gun games. This makes it much more appealing to gamers of all skill levels. With persistence and patience, anyone can complete this game. A few things to mention: on the snowy bike and tunnel stages, it does make your eyes feel a bit strange if you're retrying the stage multiple times in a short space of time. Due to the very little storytelling and no character development at all, the game does feel a bit too arcadey for me. I think if they had tiny cutscenes at the end of each stage, in-game quotes, or something for the player to develop at least a small bond with the characters, the game would be a lot more immersive for me. But as far as I could tell, I may as well be playing as Sarah Connor and Arnold from Terminator 1, the story is that vague. I do like the sort of cliffhanger they left at the end, potentially hinting to a sequel, but again, purely assumption, so who knows. But as I've said already, the game is overall a joy to play, is very well polished, and is definitely on my indie game recommendation list. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more games I'll be reviewing each week, and comment any thoughts you have or if there's anything I've missed. I'll try to reply to them as soon as I see them. But as always guys, all the best, take care.